Hello everyone, welcome to the classroom. Today we will be discussing, celebrating, venerating, and downright revering the return of one of my favorite shonen series, My Hero Academia. Thank you for joining us as always. Now you may be a little confused at the moment as to what I mean by the statement I made to start this week's video. Well, please let me rid you of this unfortuitous confusion. It's good again. My Hero isn't like something like Bleach or Trigun, which have come back to air after lengthy hiatuses. No, it's been running since April 3rd of 2016 and is now airing its 6th season. So to express what I really mean by the title, let me break down my feelings on each season of My Hero really quickly. You can also go check out how I feel about each individual arc in my arc ranking video, which I will link in the description. You should also definitely give this video a sick like and maybe even do a subscribe on this channel, bestie. Season 1 is pretty damn solid. Usually anime take a while to get going, but in 12 episodes they really set up the story and world in a pretty great way. Season 2 really kicks things up in a massive way. It starts with a tournament arc, but since My Hero has such a huge and charismatic cast, fights between side characters don't really feel any lesser than the main character fights. However, the second half of the season definitely staggers a little bit with the less fun and important feeling Stain and Final Exam arcs. Season 3 is basically just a better Season 2, where the first half is literally the most perfect piece of fiction I have ever encountered, and the second half is pretty damn good. Season 4 is interesting, however. Season 4 feels really strange because up until now the series had been largely concerned with two growing story threads: the saga of One for All and All for One, and the dynamic between Izuku and Bakugo. However, Season 4 takes a handbrake turn into a story about the Yakuza, and Bakugo is benched for pretty much all of this Yakuza arc, and then gets minimal play in the remainder of the season. Now, neither of these are necessarily a bad thing, and I think Horikoshi actually did a really good job with these admittedly odd decisions. First off, the Yakuza are a really good addition to the world building of My Hero. It kinda answers the question of how normal organized crime has changed in this age of superpowers. And while yes, the One for All for One storyline basically gets entirely put on pause, Overhaul, in addition to working with the League of Villains, is a very convincing threat. And as for Bakugo, while I did miss him a lot in the Yakuza arc and in Season 4 in general, Horikoshi made a very intelligent decision with Mirio. Mirio Togata, who I have made a video about that will also be linked in the description, is a supportive, optimistic hero who really brings out a different side to Deku than Bakugo. He is also just a fucking incredible character on his own, many times actually outshining Deku. A lot of times when I rewatch this arc, I kinda just stop watching after the Mirio fight with Overhaul, though Deku punching a child abuser right in the beak is pretty amazing. And then the rest of the season bounces around in tone and quality with smaller sorta mini arcs, wrapping up in a really excellent way with the high-end Nomu fight, showing the new status quo for the world of heroes and villains. Season 5 was the first one I watched as it was airing, and that may color my perspective a bit, but the consensus on this season was that it was probably the worst in the show yet, so I trust my opinion on this. While Season 5 did what My Hero Academia always does well, which is introduce more side characters for people to unhealthily attach themselves to, it also had flaws that had been yet unseen in the series. For example, this season is just needlessly slow. Besides the Team Bakugo versus Class 1B's team in the class battles, every training match felt like the pace could have been massively accelerated. Then they made just one of the silliest decisions I've ever seen this show make, and changed the order of the arcs. See, in the manga, it goes Class 1A versus Class 1B, then My Villain Academia, and then the Endeavor Agency arc. But they decided to switch Villain Academia and Endeavor Agency so that they could end on a higher note with Villain Academia. Now, I do agree that My Villain Academia is a much more exciting cliffhanger than the Endeavor Agency arc. I don't even really like that arc. However, those arcs are in that order for a reason, and if you just switch them around, then you're left with these awkward story threads which feel like they aren't put in the right place, because they're not. Like, we don't even know why the League is suddenly such a massive, undeniable threat that even the number 2 hero is scared shitless of them, and the series expects us to just believe them and, like, care. Due to how I felt about Season 5, and especially how it concluded, I was pretty worried about the ever-approaching Season 6, but I was dead wrong. Season 6 has been said, according to Wikipedia, to be covering chapters 258 through 306, which would leave us right at the end of the Paranormal Liberation War arc. Season 7 would presumably then start with the next story arc, which I don't want to spoil the name of for any anime-only fans, but it seems like a very fun idea. This war arc, before it came to screen, was said to be the greatest arc in the history of My Hero, and so far, I think it definitely could be. So first off, one of Horikoshi's greatest strengths, something that very few storytellers have, is that he knows when his most important characters should be off-screen. I think that this arc so far has really shown off some of Horikoshi's greatest strengths as a storyteller, so let's get right into them. Deku, Bakugo, and All Might would probably be considered the 3 most important protagonists to My Hero Academia, and in this season, they don't even really play a role at all until episode 6. This is a perfect example of Kohei Horikoshi's ability to perfectly use his massive cast. He has weaved such a wonderful tapestry of heroes and villains that he can just move it around to fit any situation he needs. Hell, I mean, the best episode of the season so far pretty much just focuses on 3 side characters, and it's fucking amazing. I cried like 20 times. The action animation has also been really fun, especially with Endeavor and Dabi's fire effects. I don't know what meth they gave the animators at Bones, but they better keep them on that shit. Which also, sidebar real quick, I have seen some people say that the animation this season sucks because of specific frames looking goofy. And guys, that's how animation works. In a manga, you have these perfect panels, every frame a painting. But in animation, those specific frames just aren't relevant. If you think that literally every frame of animation needs to be perfect or even look good, that just tells me that you have never created anything in your life and you are a fucking moron. But anyways, sorry about the quick little rant, but I am just so grateful that I am this excited to watch My Hero Academia again. I think it really just comes down to the fact that it feels like My Hero Academia has stakes again. It feels like the plot is moving again. I have liked damn near everything since the All for One All Might fight, one of my favorite episodes of TV of all time. But I would be lying to you if I told you that I thought it had kept up the same level of quality that it had had before that fight. But I really feel like it's coming back to that great high again, and maybe I've just been beaten into submission by my love for this series, but I don't think that this season would have been as good if seasons 4 and 5 hadn't been a little under the weather. Speaking of which, I have been like super sick all week, so if I look or sound or feel a little bad, keep it to yourself. But you know who else is sick? Goddamn Tomura Shigaraki, because he just absolutely is stealing the show so far. Before this, my favorite villain was Jinbu Baigawara, aka Twice, and I thought that Shigaraki was honestly pretty whatever. But like Horikoshi knew exactly what I was thinking, he simply murdered Twice, shattering my heart, and took Shigaraki out of the Gatorade tube, making him fucking awesome. So far, I still don't think he's that well written. The whole wanting to destroy everything is kinda rote in my opinion, but when you look this fucking cool doing it, I can't help but love that, I'm sorry. So far, My Hero Academia Season 6 is fucking outstanding, and I could not be more excited to see where it goes next. Well everyone, thank you so much for watching, but that is the video today. If you've been watching the new season, let me know how you feel about it in the comments down below, and if you have not been watching the new season, you can apologize in the comments down below. I hope y'all have a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much as always for watching that video, and a double thank you if you made it to this point. It really means a lot. I really do appreciate it. This week what I have to show off from my collection is Gyo. This is the, there's this kind of trinity of Junji Ito works that got this treatment. It's Tomi, Uzumaki, and Gyo. And Gyo was the only one that I did not have. I'm very happy to have it now. I have read the whole thing. It's good. It's weird. It just kind of ends. That's my biggest thing with it that I keep thinking. It's a fun time to read it. The art is obviously amazing. Actually, the line work is, some of the best I've seen from Junji Ito. It's really good. But it really does just kind of go and go and go and then end. It just, builds up and then ends. It doesn't feel like it has, a real, arc. It feels like you're running up a long hill and then there's just a cliff. And that cliff is the end, and you accidentally jump off because you're like, I thought there was going to be more hill here. I don't know. But, yeah, I would pick up Gyo. I think it's worth it, even though it's kind of weird. But, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye.